was too eager to film a video that I didn't even edit the first one, and I have no idea what to do better, which is kind of a mistake on my part, but that's for later. I just got too excited at the prospect of hosting this little cooking show, because I've been thinking over the past hours, like, what kind of show do I want this to be? What kind of teaching experience I want it to be? And I think one of the reality of baking is that we don't take it slow enough. So, you know, something as silly as showing you how to cut a vegetable, or not vegetable, but chive. Sorry, I only had it in French. We call it ciboulette. But yeah, you have to go down to the basics, even in pastry school. How to hold a knife. Sounds silly, but it can prevent a lot of injuries. And if you were in my class, you would know what this bad boy can do, because yeah, we had one girl literally cut her palm open. Yeah. So it happens. So good lesson right here. Today, for the recipe, because we're still in kind of like unit 1, it's more like quick breads. So when I say quick breads, you know, when we think of bread, we think of like sourdough or like just a loaf you get at the supermarket. But when I talk about quick bread, it's more like scone, something that you know, doesn't require yeast. So it's gonna use a chemical leavener, and in this case, we're gonna use baking powder. But you put baking soda and acid and like cream of tartar, and you got yourself baking powder. So quick fact here. But essentially this will act as yeast, but was chemically made by us because we're chemists. But yes, all right. So today I decided that we're gonna do scones, cheese scones. So we're going savory today because pastry is not all about sweet. And you might ask yourself, oh, if you go to baking school, you're gonna gain like 40 pounds. I mean, you can, but I've gained probably 20 pounds during that program. But I think halfway through, you can find a balance between what you eat, what you consume in class, and what you actually like want to eat as well. Because trust me, after 10 months of eating sweets, it pains me to say that I wouldn't want to eat sweets most of the days towards the end, which is a shame. But I made sure to try everything once because, you know, I think it's important to know what you're eating. A lot of my teacher reinforced that concept, like, just try it. We're not asking you to eat a whole thing. Like, if you want to just have like a tiny bite, you're welcome to, you know. Like, it was probably the most fun I've had in a long time because, well, there was food everywhere. So it's like, food will always come to those who love to bake, which I really like this quote because it is very true. And pastry school really showed me that if you actually want to turn this into your job and stuff, like, you'll always be not hungry. And I think that's a skill that is not really taught, how to make stuff for yourself. Like, especially something as simple as scones is very easy, but then you never have to pay it at the grocery store. And we always think that the ingredients are more expensive, and it is more expensive today, but I think in terms of value, really where you're saving money is making it yourself. But it's not all about money either. Making it yourself like gives you a lot of like good feels. Honestly, like, it's a process of creation, and creation takes time. So it's like an exchange. You exchange your time for something very delicious. All right, let's get started because I ramble on, but that's also baking school. Teacher just keeps on rambling, but that's okay because you learn from personal storytelling, I think. You can learn more than school. So yeah, I'm just gonna, this sounds silly once again. I remember laughing in class. They showed us how to grate cheese. But it's true, like, not everyone has touch or grate. And, you know, I've had to humble myself a little bit in that class too, because I think a lot of chefs and cooks, well, I should speak while doing, sorry. Well, you just want to go up and down, and you make sure that your fingers are out of the way, because I've cut myself a few times on this actually. Thumbs especially. I showed you the wrong way to do this already. We learn from our mistakes, so what we're gonna do first is see how much we need cheese. So you want to go through your recipe first, so you know your steps and what you need, your ingredients prepared. So I'm doing my mise en place right now because I have most of my stuff ready. I have my my sheet pan. I should actually start the oven. We're gonna put that at, it's 220 degrees Celsius, so that's around 425 Fahrenheit. Measure the quantity of cheese that I need, which is 100. So I just need 100 grams. I know this is way too much. This is closer to 100. 112. We'll keep it at 112 because who doesn't like more cheese? And then this cheese I'll just keep for later. So that's how much I need. You just go against, usually I like to do like almost a TRX like clamp, because, well, with your thumb. It's like a guitar, you play the guitar with cheese. But you want to keep your arm also like straight, because over time you use your wrist a lot. So you want to avoid injuries anywhere you can. Just be mindful of like how your body is and stuff like that. Anytime to plug a yoga, I'll put it in, but if you can do yoga, it's really good for that mind-body connection. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's not like mind-body connection. It's really like, oh, this is how my body operates. Like, this is how I can maximize my movement, you know? So it's not just mind and body connected. No. It's like you actually learn how to use the body you have to be strong. And it kind of looks robotic, like this. I need to keep my wrist straight and not like this, right? Because over time, this will strain. But you know, you never learn proper body mechanics. So now you kind of look like a robot, but you know, you get a workout out of it too, because you press your shoulder to maximize. And I think baking and working out works really well together. Because it is a trade after all. Okay, sorry. I didn't have to do that, but I did. Free will. Okay. Okay, first of all, before I go on a tangent, sharpen your knives. Very important. I think I said that. I don't know if I did, but sharpen your knives. And like I said, no good. So, I don't actually know, like some people hold their knives like from the blade, because there's more like, but I've seen a lot of people just do this too. I like a mix, like this, like hand here and then on the blade. And then for this hand, you never want to put your thumb in the way, because, you know, so TRX claw, and you kind of just move along as the knife goes, like, you kind of just move your, it's not the greatest cutting board to do this, but I don't actually know how much I want to put in. I usually like to put by heart feel, like, I don't think for inclusion there's rarely a wrong number, especially with chocolate. Important reminder, clean as you go. Alright, so let's start the actual process of mixing everything. Alright, so we take our flour. I went to pastry school so that you don't have to. I am gonna teach you, drill into you how to scale, because I don't know, that's what they did in school, and it's part of the process. You have to, there's a certain, it's part of it. It's important that it's filmed, because it's always skipped, like on all the videos online, and sounds like I'm getting agitated. Promise I'm not. It's just like, show the whole process sometimes, and then people will understand why something costs something, I think. Like, I think people tend to forget how much time was invested in this. And so we expect like, it's just, shouldn't be more than $2. Well, you can do it yourself. Like, there's so much resource available to you, so either you buy it and you stop complaining, or you learn how to make it. Period. Put 12 of baking powder. I just need my spoon. I got my spoon. I'm leaving it there because it's all gonna get sifted anyway. So I just want 12. I don't know if you knew this. I don't think I did when I went to baking school, but there's single acting baking powder and double acting. Most in stores double, for like simple term. To activate this chemical powder, the single action is just, as soon as it touches a liquid, it activates, you know what I mean? And then the double acting is that it will activate once there's liquid, and then it will activate again exposed to the heat. So it gives you like a little more leeway, I would say. If it's single acting, you want to put it right away in the oven. I mean, this one double acting as well, but there's a little more room for error or time. Sugar, we're gonna put 25 grams. And 2 grams of salt. I'm gonna sift this now. That's all your dry ingredients. Oh my god, nobody saw that. This is not the best, but I can just do this. This is truly chemistry. Like, if you start observing the work of a baker, like, it's impressive. Alright, now we're gonna do some butter. Oh, that's why I was like, where's my butter? I put my butter in the freezer just a little bit because for scones, you want it to be cold. This is the secret. If you want good scones, cold butter. Fun fact, I had prejudices towards scones when I first went to school. I was like, I don't like scones. Well, they're kind of good, especially with cheese. It's kind of like a really flaky, I guess it's American scone though, because I think English scones are a little more like round shaped. 125. 125. This becomes your best friend to know. It's 454 grams. Just keep that number always because it'll make measuring stuff a lot easier. It's 454, we need 125. So realistically it's like quarter-ish. Let's see, 130. I'm gonna keep my 130. It's not 5 grams of butter that will change my entire recipe. If anything, it'll make it slightly better because you can't go wrong with butter. So here I just want to put my butter, I'll put them in large cubes. The larger the cubes, the harder it is to break down, and you want big chunks. With scones, you want big chunks because the chunks are what's going to create layers in your pastry. And so under the heat, the butter will melt, the steam will like activate, and then the baking powder as well, and it's just gonna go like, so that's why they're gonna be flaky, like a pie or you know. We're basically making a pie, but cake version. That's how I like to see it. I just need to measure one more thing, so we're gonna put this in the fridge because we don't want it to, or even the freezer, so we don't want it to get warm at all. And I just need to measure my eggs, which actually is only one egg. And then I got 200 grams of milk. We measure all in grams, by the way. It's not like millimeter. It's just grams. One egg. I need 50. This is 60. I don't mind the extra 10 because, well, one, it's fairly small egg, so I suspect it's a little more like 55. I could look without. 58 with the shell, so maybe 50. Could be around the 56, 55, so really it's not a big difference. And because I'm in Alberta, it might actually help the dough a little bit with structure. So have the right equipment, right size bowl, right size everything. Here it's a little harder because I'm at my parents' house. I don't feel like I have all the equipment that I would usually have. Like in a professional kitchen, like school was great for that, honestly. If you've been wondering if you want to go to baking school, well, one, I would suggest it to anyone. I think there's a lot more than just baking that's getting taught there. A lot of good, valuable skills. Put my milk with my egg and we'll whisk it. But I think that going to baking school allows you to play around. You literally play around with it's like the perfect environment for you to develop and become a better baker. And then sometimes you meet cool people too. And I did, it was really fun. But I went in there not having responsibility outside of school, so it made it really easy to get immersed. And I went in there like a sponge, and I think that's what I ended up doing, is just absorbing as much as I could. I was really present. You know, I had bad days and good days. I think like everything. It wasn't all great, but it was if you really want the experience, go for it. That's my beef. Stop doing school for a degree or whatever. Just go into the school with something that you're actually passionate about, because it will make the learning so much easier. And then it will give you more direction as where to go next. It might not even be your first choice. I went back to school 3 times, 3 different things, and I'm still not saying that baking is what I want to do, but I think this is kind of cool, so I'm doing it. This is what I've been received to do. It sounds cuckoo, but whatever. The people that get it will get it. I don't need my scale anymore for a while, so I'm just gonna put it aside. Always keep your station clean. Hydrate. Your dry mix, your very cold butter. You throw it in there. Okay, all of it. Now you can use a pastry cutter. I don't think most people have pastry cutters in their homes. It's almost like a potato masher, but with blades. Everyone has a handy fork usually at home. So you just want to cut it. You want to cut the butter. You don't want to, you can use your hands, but then you're adding heat. I'm just stabbing the butter to break. And I know I have very warm hands, so I know that if I use my hand, it's gonna become more like molding something, and you don't want that. You don't want it to be Play-Doh, because then you're losing those layers that you're creating with the butter. But you want it to be maybe like chestnut sized. If you don't know what a chestnut is, it's a nut. I don't know what a chestnut size actually looks like, but I would say this is good, like almost a thumb size. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say woman thumb size. I have pretty small hands, but they're pretty average too, so. Okay. Just making sure that it looks like everything is about the same. There's one more ingredients you need to put in there that's not on a recipe, and that's caring. People don't talk about caring, but if you don't care for your dough, I promise you it will not turn out. And sometimes you care for them and they still turn out a little sorry. But you know, that's kind of like life. It's just life sometimes. But usually if you put care into something, it will almost surely flourish always. Almost. Sometimes, I don't know what happens. Glitch in the matrix. Okay, we're gonna add our cheese after that. Always look back at recipes. There's no shame in not knowing a recipe by heart. I don't even think you should know a recipe by heart, because then it makes you like, you know, like you become like, I mean, you do it long enough, you will remember recipes, but then you can lose track of maybe your ingredients. Because once it's wet, this is gonna become very hard to mix. Like, would you see what, like it's all like there's clumps everywhere, the cheese would not be really everywhere, just so would the chives. So anyway, try your best. And then when you're ready, because this is where it's gonna get a little messy, you combine milk and eggs. And we mix it until there's just a moist dough that's forming. You don't want to overmix, okay? That's under mix more, because we're still gonna be like messing around with it. So don't mix it all the way, okay? So ideally, on a stand mixer, you add it on while it's on, because then you're maximizing like your movements and stuff. I'm using my belly. You know, it's a great tool. That's why I'm glad I have it. Okay, just until it makes a moist dough. You be careful not to break all your beautiful butter. Well, I'm just gonna use my hand for the end, because I think with your hands you always feel it better. You don't want to knead it per se, but you want to make sure it's like incorporated, like moist, not like dry bits. I will knead slightly because it's not really doing what I want it to do, but it's getting moist. The more you touch bread, the more you understand it. It's a creature of deception. Sometimes you think you're doing something wrong and it's fine, you just have to mix it a little bit more. And other times it's the opposite. It's like, I don't have a ring here, so I'm gonna use a cake tin. This is, you should put parchment paper. This is wax paper though. Oh, it was still a little dry, but just empty the content. Here. They didn't teach me this in baking school. Alright, I still see my butter, it's fine. So I'm just gonna put this in here. You wanna like not mess around with it too much. These are much larger than they would be in like a cake ring, but it's okay. The recipe's double for that reason. Try to get as fast as possible so that it should still turn out pretty good though. But now I've been playing with it a lot, which is fine. Like nothing's gonna happen. But I'm gonna put it back in the freezer because you want your dough to be really cold. Cut it in 15 minutes and then we're gonna bake it. So I'll be right back. Great, so I actually caught myself. This is nearly empty and I should replenish the stock that's empty. Trust me, this mentality of like understanding that it would take you less time to just replenish now instead of the next time you go and it's empty and you're like, ugh, I don't want to do muffins because I don't have flour available, right? For me with my problem, like I don't have that problem at home because I just have a big flour, like a giant bag of flour that's like right there available with a scoop. So but if you have a jar like this, which they're kind of cute and great and more convenient, definitely replenish this. And if you work anywhere, that will come in handy as well, because people won't get mad at you because you took the initiative to fill it back. So yeah, that's all part of the process, you know. You have to learn. This is what I learned in baking school, essentially. You have to learn to trust the process. Oops. Okay, that's enough. Learn to trust the process, even when it's hard. But trust the process. And I did the same with Mrs. Sugar, so I thought I would put me on camera to just expose myself and to reinforce that. But you know, I'm hoping this the YouTube channel is a way for me to kind of go through it again, reinforce my own skills, and go through it as like a new student, a student that's a little more aware of other things and actually kind of slow down the process and enjoy it again. And in the process, I hope I can kind of give some like tips and tricks. I'm not like a pastry chef whatsoever. I was a home cook before, like a home baker since I was like 8 years old. So this is not like, I'm not a professional chef. Well, I am, but I'm not. Like, I think a chef always learns. I don't think I know like even the tip of the iceberg. Like, I'll be honest. Even though sometimes I feel like I know more, but like that I can verbally say with confidence, not a whole lot. So yeah, always refill your stuff. Initiative. So the next step will be to cut our scones. They've been in the fridge for maybe 10 to 15. I'm gonna reverse it because it's always prettier on this side. Looks a little more uniform. To be completely honest, I probably could have mixed it a little more, but it's still fine. And make it look rounder. Okay, look at this nice little disc of goodness. Okay, so you don't need to be always so precise. I think one thing in baking school, you get caught up in wanting to be ultra precise to the point where you measure with your like ruler, which is fine. But sometimes something like this, like I remember at my unit one, I was like, oh, this is 7.5, 7.5, but you get a good eye for it, you know. I'm gonna make tiny ones today. Well, tiny is an understatement, but my dough is quite, well, you know what? Let's do big ones too. It might not bake all at the same speed, but I guess that's part of the experiment. I want to see if I can show you one that has a good example. Oh well, okay. I don't know if you can see. You can kind of see it. There's chunks of butter here, and you see there's kind of layers. Here you can see a big piece of butter. This might be a little too big, but okay. So I'm just gonna do this. I don't want to be stuck with it. I'm gonna give them to the neighbors, and I'm gonna stop being so shy and just give them scones. It's not the end of the world. People like baked goods. They do. They really do. So for you don't need any fancy tool. It's just an egg wash. You can do milk as well for like browning, but egg wash is always nicer. Just until it's like homogeneous. You know, I always liked chemistry, like science, so it makes sense that I'd be doing a YouTube channel one day. One of the first time I felt confident in my life, I think, was we actually had to do a presentation. I don't remember on what. I think it was grade 5, and I chose like the chemistry and baking, and then I went up there and I had like, I even made brownies for the class to give afterwards. But yeah, I was explaining like, oh, like osmosis and vegetables, like if you're or I think it was in cooking, like the chemistry in cooking. And then that was like grade 5, and I was really into it. And yeah, I was talking about like the osmosis that happens in vegetables. Like if your vegetables are wilted, you can just put them in ice cold water for like, I don't know, 15 minutes, and it will absorb through osmosis and makes your vegetable crispy again. And so, I don't know, I've always had a fond memory of that. And yeah, I gave brownies at the end, although I don't remember anything else. I just remember doing it. I remember like going on YouTube and looking for like cool chemistry facts. Yeah, I've always learned with YouTube, so I think this is my way of kind of giving back to YouTube. I've learned through people like this, and I've always preferred like a long tutorial. And yeah, I'm trying to do this as well because my attention span is like gone. So I think this will be good, and anyone watching. It's like a podcast. It's an immersive podcast, like cooking or baking podcast. But yeah, oh my god, the universe did great. I was like, oh, I should put more cheese on top. Now I don't have to grate more. I can just use the one that I grated for my mistakes. So sometimes you see, oh yeah, that's fine. I'll put paprika afterwards. It's fine. What a happy accident. You know what I mean? Sometimes mistakes are not, I mean, oftentimes, I would say like 90% of the time, mistakes are never mistakes. Even when it's just cheese. Now I'm making this into a really bigger deal than it is, but for me right now, this is like godsend. I want to be careful with this because I don't, okay, so I just go like this. It's pretty good. Now we put that for maybe 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, You want to look at them again and then add another 10 minutes. And rotate your sheet pan. Although this is a convectional oven. Convection, yeah. So the air goes all the way through. So that sometimes cooks faster. I should always adjust my temperature as well for convection. But here I'm not too sure. This is my parents' oven. I'm not like 100% sure how it works yet. But yeah, you always want to put less time and then add more if you need to. So